Biden administration double-crossed the Permian Basin once again. It's not Biden's call. It's U.S. Fish and Wildlife. And this is a pretty staggering story because in this business, this lizard that is based in the Permian, the West Texas Permian Basin, it's about 3 inches long. You'd probably forget its name if you weren't paying attention. It's called the Dune sagebrush lizard. Okay. Let me just walk you through what happened. This lizard has been concerned for conservationists for the better part of 12 years. The Biden administration, or the Obama administration, and U.S. oil producers have been in negotiation for about 11 years to effectively conserve enough territory for this lizard and other wildlife in the region. So they were working on a deal, and there's been millions and millions of dollars spent on behalf of the Permian oil producers. And right when they were close to a deal, U.S. Fish and Wildlife put in a number, or put into the Federal Register, a declaration that they were going to try to put this lizard on the endangered species list. Now, if that is the case, it does not shut down oil production, but it does drastically limit permitting in certain places. And to be honest with you, if they do this, they're going to drive oil prices up. This is where 40% of U.S. oil production is 15% of natural gas production. The conservation efforts have already largely been done, but it's a reason for them to try to stifle more production. Now, how does this happen? Okay. I have explained that there are 5 trends in the global economy that will impact this market and your money and your life for the next 8 years. Deglobalization, de-dollarization, decarbonization. I forgot the 4th one. It'll come to me. And the 5th one, though, is dirigism. And dirigism is effectively economic fascism, where governments turn small businesses or turn businesses into their lackeys for all types of various reasons, including environmental demands, or government going on Twitter and shutting people down. It's effectively allowing businesses to exist, but government direction. And this is a fancy French term that I've written about. Now, within this, let me explain how this works. What happens is there are a couple of groups out there, and in this case, it's the Center for Ecological Biodiversity, or something along those lines. Center for Biological Diversity. They are a environmental group, right? They obviously are meant to conserve. Well, it turns out they're really a legal shop. And they've got 50 lawyers on staff of about 170 people. And what they do is they sue. And they sue and they settle. And it says, based on our record of legal success, 83% of our lawsuits result in favorable outcomes, developing negotiating position with government agencies and private corporations. Literally, they come in and they sue to prevent economic activity. And it's insane, but it's how the U.S. system works. And they brag about it openly. And it's not just about oil production. Listen, if the United States government was concerned about endangered species, they would be shutting down windmills, because that's one of the number one killers of bald eagles in the United States. That's not what it's about. It's about shutting down U.S. business. And there are investigations going on about whether or not some of these groups are being funded by international governments. With that, they are under investigation right now through the Congress right now. And the Center for Biological Diversity files lawsuits to stop production of critical metals. They tried to shut down Thacker Pass in Nevada, which would have been our largest lithium mine. They've sued to prevent the expansion of Navy and Army training. They've any expansion of military bases. They're trying to stop our rocket program over, I think, some bird. If Occam's razor is right, it's usually the primary reason, right? who benefits if we don't produce oil? Who benefits if we don't produce minerals? Who benefits if we don't expand our military programs? It's not that complicated. But try going on a warpath against that. This is the problem. This is where the U.S. system is very corrupted. There is money in this. There is a lot of money in tying things up in the legal system. And until that is stopped, these types of things will continue. And it's not just oil and gas. It's stopping the mining of lithium, which how do you create the necessary metals that we need? It's all tied back to this. And I've argued for a long time, the most powerful lobby in Washington is the environmental lobby. And it's not even close because of what they can do and how they can tie things up in the courts. All right. So just be aware of this because these are the things that will drive up the cost of many different things in the future. This is inflationary. And we have a $2,000 decline in regulatory costs between 2016 and 2020. It's up $5,000 in the last 3 years. It's because of stuff like this. And if we don't increase supply of copper and metals and oil and gas, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be very inflationary. This is why you have people from the IMF or Christine Lagarde, who's the head of the ECB. She's saying right now that climate change is causing inflation because they're not getting this stuff done fast enough in order to the green transition. Inflation's man-made. They're the ones who made this decision. And while we are trying to have this transition, groups like this are preventing the actual development for the metals and the batteries and everything else. So this is why in about 2, 3, 4 years, copper might be at $10. Oil might be at 120.